Alrighty, guys. Happy what day is it? Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday, guys. We have Nvidia's earnings today, so how could I forget that it's Wednesday? And let me tell you, the entire market, well, is all over the place again. And SoFi stock is down over 1.3%. So I want to go over SoFi, the overall market, of course, as well. And we'll break down some news regarding Google. We'll go over my thoughts with some other stocks. So, guys, hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Join the Patreon for my portfolio updates if you want. That's linked down below. Also pinned in the comments. There's a Discord. You get my charts and ideas throughout the week as well. Again, link down below. And now, cheers. Take a sip of your coffee. Let's dive into it, guys. So we are down, not on every index right now, but we are down on the Russell and the Dow. The Dow's down 0.25%. Russell's down 0.05. So not much, right? But the S&P's up 0.08% as QQQ's up 0.1%. So what does that tell me, guys? Well, when it comes to the overall indices, right? It tells me that it's the calm before the storm. We're kind of waiting to see the markets teeter-tottering, green, a little red. We're waiting to see what these earnings are going to look like from Nvidia in the next 4 hours. And you can see this morning we actually had a big move in the market. We hit 667 on SPY, and now we're down to 660. So we had a huge pop, massive drawdown from that point. Now we're pretty much right back to the opening price. Again, we're teeter-tottering, red, green, right? So what way are we going to go? It looks like earlier, again, we tried breaking out, but you can see we got hit at the 180 SMA on this 30-minute chart. Big resistance on SPY, and probably the same thing happened on QQQ. Yeah, we hit the 180 SMA. We tried breaking out 605. It didn't happen. We got rejected. Now we're at 597, right back under $600 a share. So the market is in limbo still, trying to wait and see, what these earnings are looking like. And the reality is, guys, we're not going to get any significant direction in this market until we get those earnings from Nvidia. That's the reality. So QQQ is in a wedge still. You're noticing that higher lows, lower highs on the 4-hour chart, and SPY, same exact thing, making these higher lows but lower highs at the same time. And somebody asked me in the Discord this morning, like, Stas, what are your thoughts on the S&P? Is it oversold? Yeah, I mean, technically it is oversold. On the RSI, if you're looking at the relative strength index here on SPY, it's at 36 on the 4-hour chart. That is screaming oversold, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're just going to rocket back up. Yeah, we're oversold, but it doesn't mean that we can't get more oversold. It can. It could go down more. But I think Nvidia will save the stock market. I've said that before. I'll say it again. And we're down, 4% on SPY from all-time highs? I mean, come on, guys. QQQ's probably down like 5-6%. This is not that big of a pullback, right? It's not that serious yet. Keywords yet, if it even gets more serious, right? Which I don't necessarily think it will. We're down 6.5% on QQQ. This is just a little pullback. The AI trade got a little too hot. We all know that. No need to dive too deep into that. And there's fear, right? Some panic that, oh my God, the trade's over. I don't necessarily think it is, and I think we'll get confirmation today from Nvidia that it's not over. And Nvidia, by the way, is up 1.5% right now, looking pretty good. Google's up 3.5%. Earlier, it was up 6-7% in the morning. Insane. So let me show you SoFi quickly before we dive into, Google, what's going on there, why that stock's moving. We can see SoFi is down another 1.5%. And I truly think that this is one of the easier, quote unquote, right, swing trades in the market right now, especially if we get a rate cut, especially, once we start to see the market kind of ease, the VIX come down, we get the rebound in the indices. I think SoFi is going to be one of those candidates that could snap back to $30 like that. It's going to be one of those strong rebound candidates, and it looks great on the charts. I mean, I know we've covered this time and time again, but it's still trading in this uptrending channel. You guys see it's been in this for a good, 2.5 months now. So yeah, I mean, there is a chance it falls through here, and in that case, we're gonna have to reevaluate. But it's not doing that yet. In fact, we're seeing, the RSI stabilize a little bit. Looks like we're slowly consolidating a little bit. You can argue that on the 5-day, 5-minute, but we're right at the support right now. We're right at 25.80 now. That's where we held yesterday, the day before that, roughly. So if that breaks, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to reevaluate. But I feel like buyers could start coming in this 25 range. But be careful, be careful. I'm telling you, it's all coming down to Nvidia's earnings. Even if the company is not directly affected by Nvidia, because it's the market, the entire market's waiting for Nvidia. It's a $5 trillion market cap, or at least it was, right? It's 4.5, 5, whatever it's at. So even if the company doesn't have to do with Nvidia, right, it still moves the entire market, So if Nvidia, it's like a rising tide lifts all ships. You've heard of that saying. So that's what it's coming down to, guys. And I'm not buying swing trade shares yet on SoFi because, well, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for today after the bell to see how the market reacts, to see kind of how tomorrow goes, Friday. And honestly, I might not even take a swing trade position, period, until next week, right? Maybe Monday, Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, at this point, it's tempting to nibble a little bit of SoFi. It seems like it's such an easy trade, but it's going to come down to those earnings and, of course, rate cuts. That's a little bit further out in December. That's another reason why SoFi's probably been getting hit a little bit, because you guys know rate cuts were pretty much a lock in December. They were a lock a couple months ago, or weeks ago rather, and now it's not so much a lock. It's more like a 50-50 split, whether or not we're going to get rate cuts. Are we not? And about a couple weeks ago, it was a 95% chance that we were going to get a 25 basis point rate cut, and it's just not 100% guaranteed anymore, right? It's far from that. So that's definitely affecting SoFi a little bit. Is it the end of the world? No, because ultimately I think we're going to get a rate cut. But it does have SoFi selling off a little bit. Now we're down, like 20%? Yeah, SoFi is in a bear market officially now. So I just think it looks attractive here. But again, I'm waiting until Nvidia's earnings to kind of see how the overall market reacts, and then we'll go from there. I think that's the smart thing to do, at least for me in this situation. So let's talk about Google quickly, then we'll wrap up the video. By the way, guys, hit that like button. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. So Alphabet, man, another all-time high. We hit over $300 a share, 304 today to be exact. We were up, I think, 6 to 8% at one point. It was unbelievable. About 7%. And now we're seeing a little intraday pullback, which is okay, fine, right? After being, after hitting all-time highs in this rocky market. And that's what's so impressive about it, right? This stock is doing this in this rocky market that we're in, where the VIX is up, indices are down, AI bubble fears, Google just keeps on going, and a lot of this has to do with Buffett buying the stock, Berkshire, right? Obviously, Buffett's retired. We all know that. It's Berkshire making the move. Todd, Ted, Timmy. Whatever the heck their names are. But yeah, I mean, that is helping Google stock, and the fact that we got news about Gemini, right? Gemini just updated their new version of the AI model. I believe it's the third, or Gemini 3 rather. It says here, you can't see it, but I'm reading some notes. It says, the executive stated this represents a massive jump in reasoning and coding ability. This, along with growing success in their custom AI chips, the tensor processing units, it's fueling investor confidence in the company's AI prospects, right? And I was reading they're expanding Waymo. There's a lot going on. Loop Capital upgraded Google Alphabet to a buy rating. So it's like Buffett's buying in. buy rating from Loop Capital, Gemini 3, Waymo expansion. We got news. I mean, it's old, but a couple months ago, weeks ago, however long ago it was, about the Google Chrome news. Now Meta won a big antitrust lawsuit as well, I was reading. So there's a lot of big wins for the company in the short term, and the stock is just going bananas. And, I just couldn't be happier, man. For all the OG, subscribers here on YouTube, I'm on Facebook now. So if you're watching this on Facebook, I haven't been making much content on Facebook, or, well, for nearly as long as on YouTube. I've been on Facebook for a year or two now. But for all the OG subscribers, followers, you know that Google has been one of my biggest stock holdings. It was my biggest stock holding for a while. Then Nvidia surpassed it. It's still in my top 3, and this has just been one heck of an investment. I don't want to toot my own horn, right? But my goodness, guys, this stock, we were buying the dip in 2022, 2023 like crazy, right? When the stock got down to 80, 90 bucks. I remember like it was yesterday. I was smashing that buy button at 80, 90, $100. And during this recent pullback, people don't realize like 3 months ago, Google was 140, 50 bucks a share. No joke. Okay, maybe not 3 months ago, but 5 months ago, we were in the 130, 40, 50 range. That was an insane gift, right? What a freaking buy the dip opportunity, right? And now we're at $300, and I genuinely don't plan on selling a single share. At this point, Google for me, I don't think it's a buy. Loop Capital put it as a buy. I think it's a hold for me. I'm in this stock. I forget my average cost across accounts here, but yeah, I'm in pretty big time. And I'm in definitely under $200. Yeah, I think my average has got to be in the one across accounts here, probably like 160 to 180, 90-ish range, in that ballpark, right? I bought, this is a stock. Remember, I've held for a while now, and I've averaged up. It's one of those that I want to continue building my position. That's where investors get in trouble sometimes. They don't realize what stocks to add to when they're going up. What stocks to just hold when they're going up. And Google was one of those where I always wanted to average up, build my position larger, even though the stock was up, was uptrending. That's the way I viewed Google. I still view it like that. And I also view companies like Amazon like that. I bought the dip here on Amazon from 260 to 221. I added more yesterday. And this is another stock I've been buying for 2-3 years now, pretty aggressively. So yeah, man, you got to realize as an investor when to, again, average up on a stock and when to just not just to hold, when to lock in profits even. There's a lot of different thought processes that you have to go through. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to join the Patreon if you want to keep up with what I'm doing in my portfolio. You get real-time updates, multiple throughout the week, and I've been buying stocks like a madman recently. So every single time I buy stocks, I post updates. There's a Discord. You get more access to me throughout the week. All of that is linked down below. Also pinned in the comments section, or go to stassurfest.com/Patreon. And with that being said, cheers. I'll see you all in the next video.